Okay, I think I set the stream to be public this time. Anyway, I know I said that I was going to be doing this as a post-commentary video, but I decided instead to do this as a stream because I don't know, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and I just feel like approaching it with a chat here is going to make it a little bit easier. So let's start this one up, and God, I hope I did this right this time. Messing around with save files is sometimes a little bit difficult. Come on, Nico. Yes, okay, thank God. Remind me not to do a whole lot more meta games, because oh boy, it is very hard to manipulate save files in the way that I am accustomed to when doing this. Don't even worry about it, Nico. It's not like we haven't done this song and dance several times at this point. Anyway, in documents, so give me 1 second so that I can go open that thing up. Actually, should probably maybe not let everybody be privy to my documents and everything like that, so just turn that off for, 1 second here. Or OneShot here. Oh, come on, where is this thing now? Yeah. Well, you know what I can also do? Just straight up go into the game files, because I did find out where they were being stored at. Nice try, OneShot. The inability for me to actually figure out how to do some stuff has made it so that all the secrets of your inner workings are privy to me. Don't even think that you can hide anything from me at this point in time. Oh, no, no, no. That is merely impossible. In fact, if you are curious about how exactly this works, I'll turn back on the thing. So you have all of these things in the OneShot graphics, as you can see right there. And if you go into, let me see, bogs. There we go. And that's how you find stuff. Easy as that. Normally this should be moved into your documents after you beat the game, except I've kind of messed up everything so much that it's things don't function in the way that they're supposed to right now. Which, is super cool for me. In some ways, I do think that it's that is the only appropriate way to end up playing OneShot, but it's also maybe makes for something of a weird experience when you're trying to watch this yourself. Yeah, carry on. Well, let me tell you, there's so many revelations that happen during this mode. As you can probably tell from the bolded out letters, solstice mode, that trust me when I say that there's no real reason to be going back and not doing solstice mode at this point in time. Whoops, not like that. And I want to feel it. Anyway. Wanted to make sure that this wasn't still private, but hey. Password is... Oh, here, let's do it right. Solstice, which you think might actually have something to do with the, real thing. It does not, though. I mean, they even made reference to it in the game, the whole idea of a solstice day, when I was looking at Alula and trying to figure out what her deal with the having a fox doll was. Yep, there we go. We have indeed. Actually, several times at this point. I think it was Undertale, if I'm remembering correctly, that did it in a way that it added a registry entry. By the way, I'm going to go restart chat right now because I do think that this is perhaps maybe not working, as YouTube streams are wont to do. I swear to God. YouTube streams, yep, okay, there we go. So there was, in fact, chat going on, but I couldn't see it because YouTube is bad. Hey, who could have possibly guessed that that was, in fact, the solution there? Wasn't supposed to exist after that. That's what they say. Well, that's what you said. Who, you know, the video game. You are the video game. All right. Anyway, yeah, you broke your chat. How did you manage to break it? So many ways. There's so many ways. Do you want me to list the ways that I've broken and chopped and screwed OneShot? I cannot play games that require me to, you know, interact with files on my machine, because otherwise it is... things go so badly so quickly. Can't even tell you how exactly that works. Nor do I really want to, because it would be boring. Anyway, give me that cool alcohol. I never actually got like confirmation exactly what this room is supposed to be. I mean, my guess would be like something to do with the author, but I guess you can't really... I don't know. Yes, and the deal with all your Terraria stuff. Oh God, you just wait until I actually do the Terraria series. It gets Oh right. Before I light it up, gotta do this. Yeah, you know, let me tell you, the stuff that I showed on Twitter there is just a mere start. I can't stop breaking these games. Look, you can't. This is why I need to have more, you know, rules when it comes to playing video games, because otherwise things go so badly so quickly. And that includes OneShot. So you're currently recording it? Oh, no, I'm prepping up for when Journey's End comes out. Right now, I just wanted to finish up OneShot, and I wanted to get a little bit of chat interaction with it, because I think that this is... yeah, I think the first time that I was talking about OneShot and kind of like metagames entirely is that these games are their own sequels. Like, after you play it once, you come back and you play it a second time for a different experience. And that is very true for this. I mean, you saw at the very beginning, like Nico did remember, well, he at least remembered me. Not so much that he remembered any of the actual... Oh, there's 3 times total? Yes, that was actually something... Okay, that was another reason why I did, in fact, want to do a stream here. Because I'm gonna be real with you. The Solstice route and the Solstice ending did kinda leave me perhaps somewhat unsatisfied with the story. I do, you know, here's the thing. There is a lot of stuff that is revealed and a lot of stuff that happens certainly in the Solstice storyline. But ultimately, the ending of it, I kind of, you know, we're going to get there over the course of this anyway. But for right now, it's like, yeah, the things mostly are like the same, I'm remembering. In fact, I don't even know if I necessarily need to get this immediately, but I'm doing it anyway. Will your first Journey's End playthrough be on Master Mode? Oh, no. I'm just going to I'm going to be checking out content with the character that I already have created. I've put like literally 100 hours in that since last year, so I can't stop it right now. A lot of robots here. A lot of robots still hanging around. Which, I mean... Yeah, man, the thing is, it's weird because I want to talk about some of the stuff that happens later, but I can't because it hasn't been revealed yet. Like, as you would expect. As you would expect. It's like, But there is a third playthrough even after Solstice, correct? I kind of want to, It sounds like you despise the ending, but you don't want to sound disrespectful. No. Okay. I don't want to put it like that. When we get into it, we'll get into it. It's when I initially played through the Souls Ascending, and like I was saying, I am glad that I did play through this route ahead of time, because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about that happened over the course of this that I wouldn't have even been able to like start with when I was experiencing it the first time. Oh yeah, I forgot he did the little spin around. That's fun. Tell me about. I mean, I guess this is new. Unless this was the old version, I haven't touched a Steam release. Ah. Okay. I guess we're gonna have to see. Here's the thing. If the Souls Ascending is not actually the end of the game, we do have some content that I have not seen yet that I am gonna be interested in. That might perhaps shed some light on some of the issues that I've had with the game. I guess like the best way to put it is that the Solstice route, it definitely answers everything you want, but it also feels like a little bit of, oh no, John, I remember you. I'm getting caught up with in the one-shot flow right now. Like I said, I was having a hard time like doing an actual video of this, especially with the whole idea that I have to do like save file manipulation whenever I want to restart stuff. Oh man. We sure have, Nico. You wouldn't even believe it. You would not even believe it. Love to watch. I'm trying to avoid spoilers. This is not quite spoiler territory yet, but it does get there pretty quickly. And oh boy, are there going to be... Nico, come on. We've already done this whole song and dance. You know, another thing is that, speaking a little bit more about like RPG Maker games, after playing OneShot a whole bunch, I did kind of catch up on what Manly Badass Hero has been doing recently. Guy who covers a lot of games like this, including OneShot, and the original version of OneShot. The original non-Steam RPG Maker version of it. And it's just like, in some ways, you know, it shed a little bit of light on like the sort of the ideas that I was thinking of, but... I don't know. This is gonna be an experience. I'm gonna say that right now. Yeah, there was a point where the game would generate the files for the actual ending after the two endings. Yes, I've noticed that because, for example, I can't find... I was looking for it, but I couldn't find the actual Solstice dialogue. I could find the Solstice images, but I couldn't find like the actual script it was going off of specifically for Solstice mode. So I think it's like, yeah, the game either hides them pretty well, unlike say the Solstice starting files, which, like I said, you can find in the fog images. But it does seem to it's a weird thing because like the actual inner workings of the one-shot game itself are pretty simple. Like extremely simple. But it does try to be a little bit cagey with some bits of it. For example, the very first time I played through the game, I did know about like the Solstice route because it referenced it in some of the dialogue files, but like I said, I couldn't find any of the actual like files itself when I was looking it up there. Also, this route has nothing to do with Solstice, or like the Solstice Day that they referred to, which is kind of weird. It just, people just call it that because that's what it's referred to in the game files, and that's what the password that you use to get into it right now. All right, well, there's that, and I think that the only thing I want to do right now is basically go head out over to the lookout point, if I'm not wrong. No, I think I do actually have to make the battery. But I mean, basically, the differences start to converge in the exact way that I thought they were going to in the first time that I was playing it. And I can't really say that's surprising, but I am kind of surprised that they didn't really let on to it a little bit more. Because, you know, there are obviously... Doc, I have literally no idea what you're talking about. Care to tell me a little? Basically, you know, OneShot is a metagame, which means that there are things that exist outside of the game that you need to use to progress. Whether it's opening up files on your machine and everything like that. And that means that, basically when I was playing the game for the first time, I looked through all the files. And I'm just referring to, like, a little bit of that stuff. And also, like, the way that you even get into this part of the game, this portion of the game, which is part 4, I believe. Yeah, it should be. Is to, like, delete your save file or uninstall the game from Steam and then reinstall it. How many endings are there? Well, there's the one ending that you get at the very beginning. Well, at the very beginning of the game. At the very end of the first playthrough of the game, wherein you, like, literally get a binary choice to, you know, either save the world or send Nico home. And now, at this point, there's an alternate route called the Solstice route, because that was the password that I inputted into the Windows 95 computer at the very start of the game, which gets different. It's basically what the Fox was referring to. It's basically the route that comes in from what the Fox was referring to. No, I think I need to go talk to Silver first. In the refuge alleyways of the first playthrough. Nico is indeed. No, to be honest, it's like I don't really know how much that's worth ultimately. Didn't actually save anybody in the last ending. A very hopeless, depressing type of game. As per usual. But hey, this is the route where we're supposed to be turning it around, right? And the answer is yeah, pretty much. How does she sigh? She's a robot. Presumably she just makes a noise that's like sighing. It's very questionable exactly how robots work in here. They do say beep boop, but for some reason they don't eat batteries. I mean, there's also the idea that the robot even makes, like, facial emotions at all, which is kind of questionable. Because, like, that should not be something you worry about too much with robots. Certainly the other robots in the world don't really worry about. Will this ending be edited and presented neatly, or just published raw like crosscode? Well, the thing is, I mean, I would have probably expected it to be like that, but honestly, it goes into its own thing pretty quickly, so yeah. Androids are robots too. Yeah, but androids, aside from Silver, don't actually exist in the world. She took the head off of somebody and made a replica of Silver. I mean, well, it is literally based off of Dr. Silverpoint back in the refuge, but I don't know, it's a leap up in technology for some reason that I guess was never replicated due to the fact that she went on a rampage upon being activated. No, not that, but you. Alright, lens into the broken battery. And then take the empty battery, but no, of course. Alright, let's go. The game's a little bit interactive, breaking the fourth wall. I mean, it does both, really. You'll see that a little bit later on. Now, it's not the same sort of, character that we saw before, or the very similar fox, talking fox that existed back in the refuge. Totally different dude. Also, yellow eye is an interesting type of thing because they explicitly mentioned that the Prophet bot, the blue eye that it has, is powered by by the blue phosphor, which means that a yellow-eyed character would be powered by yellow, well, would have its eye lit up by yellow phosphor, which is different. That how rare that stuff was, and to be making a book or a robot out of that, it means that it's obviously pretty important. Same person that writes all the books in this universe. I mean, yellow phosphor seems to just exist as part of the amber that exists in the Glen. Nico does remember some stuff from the previous playthrough, but not everything. Good reusage of this scene. You're saying Nico has yellow phosphor-filled eyes? Well, I mean, he would if he came from this universe. I mean, yes, like, literally, he's still part of the same game, but, like, diegetically, he's not part of the same universe. Who says he didn't? Me. Like, that's literally the entire... That actually... You're getting into one of the points that I want to make here. But I still can't jump into it just yet. Anyway. In fact, the right track would be, I believe, right here. Nope. Here. No, not the light bulb. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. How very convenient for all of you. Modern animatronics refer to the creation of electronic robotic models, animals, any living creature to make them appear lifelike with state-of-the-art mechanics, actuators, composite materials. This is technology we already have. I don't know. I have seen some very, it's off-the-line sort of animatronics, and they do not look that real just yet. They're starting to fall into the point of the uncanny valley, but I wouldn't really say, like, extreme realism. Aren't X and C being right next to each other? And indeed, we're going to. This game reminds you of Undertale? Yeah. How can you derive how realistic a pixel art face is? Because the other character that she's based on looks the exact same. I mean, it's just a recolor of the same avatar picture, basically. And you can actually run, whatever that means, while on the track, and leave silver in the dust, but thankfully I don't think that means anything. First time that I played through this route, I did actually wait up for her because I thought that there was going to be like some sort of jump scare or whatever for leaving her behind, but I mean, you know. Several times, kind of. Who is that? That's supposed to be you? No, that's not supposed to be me. That's supposed to be the computer. Which, I mean, I guess does not actually need to be access. You know, wait a second. Why is that computer supposed to be accessible from... The entity, as they referred to them, is only supposed to be something you can talk to through computers, and yet it's still able to talk to me here. Which, I mean, I guess, yeah, for the sake of the story, didn't really do that. Oh, my text has always shown up as a, like, basically in the gold text box, as you're seeing right here. It's just, you know, in the middle of the screen. Because of reasons. Oh, I mean, there is a reason. Because I think that specifically it was trying to get me to go to the end, but then to smash the light bulb to destroy the world. Which is what I did. So, you know, but still, it would have been more convenient for me, I guess is what I'm saying. Some of them have it listed who they're supposed to be. Not this one, though. And there we go. New character who looks like an alternate version of the Prophet Bot. Or at least the Prophet Bot if it was wearing, I don't know, Common Rider gear? Why is every text verse in brackets? She's a robot. Robots talk like that. As you can see, this guy right here, also a robot, talks in the same way. You know, the first time I saw this, thought he was like wiping the sweat off his brow with a rag or something, but no, it's supposed to be taking like floppy disk out of its head. I think, like, literally all you need to do is just go right over to this machine. Prophet Bot 0. Prototype Bot. Now, thankfully, as it turns out, I remember doing this, so I already have this open right here. Good stuff, eh? Because I care about you, the viewer. What playthrough is this? This is the second time I'm doing the Solstice route, basically. And there we go. Now we don't have to do the entire run over to that area to remember exactly what that is. Yeah, it's a double shot. It's like the Starbucks energy drink. For whoever made the thumbnail image, I did. Roughly about 5 minutes before starting the stream. Look, it is the traditional way to do streams on this channel. All right, hey, check it out. Even got yellow phosphor in the middle, which seems... Oh, man. Could you imagine, like, creating a diamond floppy disk back in the day? Those things were so incredibly disposable. At some point in time, I should just upload every one of those terrible dog thumbnails that I make on Twitter or something. All right, the prototype. The original Prophet Bot. So this could actually go somewhat with the idea that I had in the previous playthrough of the fact that it's like Nico is not the first Messiah out here. And that apparently the world is significantly more in dire shape, considering that they had to create a new and worse version of the Prophet Bot just to be able to greet Nico. Now, I knew this was coming. I absolutely knew this was coming. When I was saying previously that the idea that the world is like some sort of a computer simulation or whatever, it's like I thought that was probably going to be the twist in one way or another, but in some ways I also kind of hoped that it wasn't. Because this is something I've seen an awful lot in these games. Like, I feel like many RPG Maker games do a very similar sort of twist to this. In fact, the more I thought about it, and certainly the more that I've been watching a few more like playthroughs of RPG Maker games as of late, I've noticed some pretty clear trends in like how they go about doing stuff. So smart you're playing a game. But yeah, there is like a certain aspect of, it's like even a game inside of a game. But yeah, like I was saying, that it's like to see that this is one of the major things that I've seen in a lot of RPG Maker games is the idea that they bring in a big twist, and not just like a twist in like a you see in a normal story, but I feel like it's sort of played out to see like the idea that you are dreaming in a simulation, you were dead, and this is some sort of afterlife. It's like in some ways when I saw this happen in OneShot and in the exact way that I saw it, that I thought it was going to, I'm gonna be honest, I was a little bit disappointed. That it's just like, dang. They're doing the exact same thing that I've seen 100 times before. You know, dag, yo. Because especially with the idea that this is like a fake world, it kind of brings it into question. Like, I spent a lot of time, studying the lore and figuring out how exactly phosphor worked and trying to put together like a timeline of what was happening in the game. And then you get kind of this reveal that the game is, even diegetically, this is a fake world. I mean, I knew that there were going to be a bunch of meta aspects, but I don't know. It's, bringing in the concept of, like, the real world and this being a recreation of the real world. I mean, the thing is that there's also, like, a number of other comparisons that I can make, too. Like, for example, like having super dark themes with a bunch of very like cutesy characters, inescapable hell dimensions, like the way that Nico is constantly looping here. I mean, sure, this isn't quite as terrible as some circumstances that I've seen in other games of this sort, but like, it is. I mean, even down to like having depressing to bittersweet endings. Of course, that's also because a lot of other games of this sort, of this style, are horror games, and you know, what sort of horror game would you have that does, or well, what sort of horror story would you have that doesn't end with the villain opening their eyes at the very ending? Just that's the only way that breaking a light bulb would destroy everything. It makes no sense, or how a computer would be able to control the world. Yeah, but there is also like the idea that like the bits with the light bulb, the bits with the tower were simulated, but at the same time, you know, the people that existed were real and like their plights were real. But Prototype outright comes and says here that they are NPCs and they do not remember anything between the loops and that sort of stuff. Oh, you are? Yeah. No, see, that's the whole thing where it's like, Nico definitely is, though. Reminds me of the old CGI cartoon reboot. Yeah, he looks like one of the bit guys, you know, the one characters. Yeah, Ben Crotus is also correct that it's like, it could also be that this is just the rules by which the world works. Certainly, there are like prophecies and you know, elemental spirits and everything that exists in this world, but that doesn't really matter now that they are revealed as being a computer simulation. The other weird thing in this game is the fact that Nico is supposed to be a real character. I do, in fact. Nico is supposed to be like an actual character. You should reset the game after sending Nico home. Also, Nico should not exist at all. And that's the whole sort of thing where it's like revealing that this is a computer simulation, but also diegetically that Nico is not part of the simulation is a weird take to have on the game, where it's like, you're supposed to accept that some things in the game are fake, but other things are not. Well, and by other things, I mean Nico. That actually, it makes an even stranger sort of comparison to be made, because obviously, by my perspective, the entirety of OneShot is already fake, but, you know, I look at it as if it is a still self-contained story that has a bunch of stuff within it. It's that, you know, like the stuff happening within it is still real as part of its story, diegetically. But the thing is, diegetically, some things are fake, but some things are also real. So this is a weird thing to kind of wrap your head around, where it's like, despite the fact that Nico is as much of an NPC as much as any of the other characters in the game are, you're supposed to believe that he's not. That's also is a sort of a confusing thing where it's like, you're supposed to accept that the residents of this world are supposed to be less real than Nico and also matter less. That's going to come up a little bit more over the course of this route in particular. Oh, I'm not a kind god at all. I'm just trying to figure out this game. I did rebuild it and then rebuild it, so you can put actually quite a lot of blame on me, to be honest. It was the author. I mean, it's not, you know, it's actually not all that much of a surprise when that comes into play here. It's a super sped up simulation that tries to answer how to save the real world, and they probably fail in it. Nico makes no sense? I mean, it's pretty simple. He is the other real character in the game. And we're all in here, all stuck in the OneShot universe. The world engine, world machine, that was what it was called. And this is the one final attempt. The time that we're gonna win this game. For real. But Nico couldn't be real. You wouldn't be able to restart the game and have Nico back. Well, they actually do answer that. Hey, one last shot. Look, they said it. They said the thing. Trust me, Prototype. That is literally what's happening right now. Yeah, Aubrey, you said that you had played like the original version of this game, and the Solstice route was not in it at all, I guess? Or at least not even like a little bit? Oh, come on. And none of the NPCs can even understand. But, like, this guy can. So I guess you would be able to explain to them eventually. But you know, at the same time... just weird how they explain that, I suppose. Not the Game Jam version, the updated one of that. Game Jam version irritates me. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, needless to say, I haven't really played this game. I played this game first in 2018, so it was the Steam version of it. I deleted the save.dat file in the roaming folder of app data. What even happened in the room? Oh, a whole lot of lore dumps. But yeah, you can see that the reason why Nico would not have ever died during his journeys is because, well, the computer apparently cares for him about as much as you, the player, do. Does not care for the rest of the world, though. Will this be the final / true ending? I think so? I'm not entirely sure. I'm told that there might be another ending even after this route, but couldn't really tell ya. Anyway, yes. Needless to say, at this point in time, the game does take a very big turn into something completely different compared to like the original route. It started out similarly, especially when it came to like creating the battery, and you could have even gone up to the residential areas as you need to use that to solve this puzzle, but I didn't need that because I wrote it down ahead of time. I remember having to play through both normal endings to get past a massive hidden door. Well, there is definitely a massive hidden door that does come up eventually, but I don't know if that's the same one. Maybe I should have actually watched like a version of the original game to kind of like compare and contrast here, but eh. Just add the insult to injury, we get the squares. Everyone will become a moderator. Yeah, it's interesting how everybody does seem to be that right now. The Prophet is so done with this. Yeah, basically. Prophet bot, or, well, prototype bot is, very snarky. As you can see, it was built without with a permanently half-closed eye. Oh, yeah, the characters like being not real, and now they have been resigned to being, I don't know, super corrupted? Whatever. It's a real heavy thing, but at the same time, everything adds up. Yeah, it's true. It's not like this is not internally consistent, it's just, like I said, it really does follow a lot of the same sort of tropes that I've seen in other games. Which I suppose OneShot did come out in like 2016, but you know, at the same time, you think about like Yume Nikki's or like Witch's House, for example, which I think you can have some comparisons to. There are so many different games similar to this. Like I said back in the first episode of this, despite the fact that it does, you know, certainly a lot of the fourth wall breaking aspects are very different than you would see in a lot of games. It does fall into its own, I don't know, cliches and tropes. Somebody talk to me, I'm feeling like being ignored. Oh, no, no, no. I'm just getting into the one-shot spirit here. That's basically it. And interested to see us play Super Mash? Super Mash? I don't even know what that is. Well, anyway, as part of like truncating the entire game right now, I'm in the Glen. Hooray! Nico remembers a bit more of the ending, but yeah. You know, there's a sort of idea too that now that the yeah, no, it's pretty much like I was saying before. With the world being fake, it just kind of feels weird that what was even the point of the whole light bulb in the first place. Yeah, he remembers walking off screen and into my start bar, task bar, whatever you call it. Well, my dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, probably not doing great. And to no surprise, is not doing great. F for the brobot. I mean, to be fair, that gigantic robot man was mostly a hindrance in the journey of Nico anyway, so I guess I do need to actually go talk to him first, or something. Hey, yo, how's the squares today? Yeah, I know how that is, man. Okay, anyway, he's doing very poorly. Alright, and to no surprise, you don't really get to solve puzzles in the same way as the original game. From what I remember, like, a lot of these places are just straight up closed off. Yep, just squares all over the place. And I don't think that I could even go talk to the computer again if... I mean, I don't even think it's on right now. Nope. Nothing. Just gotta continue on. Why was I programmed to feel pain? Indeed. I mean, it's weird that despite the fact that this is a simulated world, they still did have robots. I guess if the idea was to recreate the world as it previously existed, that they had robots, and it's the same thing, but still. This, I believe, is... Why does Nico perceive squares and not cubes? Because they're like virtual squares. I think that you know how like coins appeared in the original Mario 64? How they were just a sprite that was always facing the camera? Same thing. Create robots inside a simulated world would cause a lot of loops for processes. Well, unless you created the world to be an extremely accurate simulation. Boy, Maze never really gets out of this very good in any of the routes, does she? But the more in the world, the more power is needed to process all that data. Well, I mean, it's kind of questionable exactly as to how this is being processed in the first place. Maybe that was not really all that much of an issue. I mean, I guess it was more the idea that you know, you created a simulation to simulate a world that already existed, so the people in the world just did the exact same thing that they would do in the regular world, which is create robots. A bunch of machine inside a bunch of machines. Hey, it definitely works like that. You seem like the sort of stuff that people do in like Minecraft. You just take your redstone and you make a Game Boy emulator. And that's, I guess, the same sort of concept here. I don't know why that was the go-to reference that I had, but you know what? It works. Ego, for God's sake. Yes, of all of the information he had from the previous loop, this is the one that's really coming in handy right now. And there you go. Oh, whoa. Don't you mean, oh, whoa, my foot? Anyway. The moral of the story is wear shoes whenever you're going into an isekai. You didn't pick up her seed? She didn't die. She's still hanging around. She literally has to survive because otherwise the entire world is going to break apart. To make it accurate, the simulation itself would have to be restricted to AI. The computer would have to be the world here. The robots would have to be scripted. Well, I mean, and the thing is, the computer is the world. That's what the entity that speaks to you through computers is. They explicitly, the Prophet Bot, the prototype, explicitly referred to it as the world machine. And these things, and like each one of the NPC characters in here are like scripts running on it. Which is also, but the thing is, the world machine is also an intelligent computer. I wasn't listening to the prototype. I don't think it really matters at this point. Listening to you speak in the chat. Oh, you can't do all three at once. It's a good thing I, you know, played through this ahead of time. And that's kind of what I was talking about before, where I wanted to do that. I'm still kind of questioning if I do want to put this up properly because I do feel like there is a lot of complaining in here on my part. Maybe I'll just leave it unlisted. People want to find the ending, they'll find the ending. I mean, to be fair, that is very accurate for what this game is. You gotta do a little bit of searching if you want the true ending to the series. Yep, still looking great. And I still guess that the friend that they were referring to was the author, but the author did say in the previous playthrough that he had left the world on his own terms, and I was saying that, hey, this game isn't that dark. Well, when you put it like that. Anyway. Yeah, I didn't get that one last time. Mirror or author? The author. They were talking about the author. You remember the bit in the ending where you had to have the second window open? On one of the author's notes, the author explicitly said that he was no longer in the world of OneShot and he had left it on his own terms, which is, yeah, you know. Oh, off in the distance? It's another character. Basically, with each of the 3 areas, you're going to get 3 different characters. The third one, of course, being the fox. It is totally different. Besides, Nico does not wear a coat with a glowing light bulb symbol on it. I feel like that would just be, you know, begging to be entrapped in this computer simulation if he was doing that. You only get 1 shot, do not miss your chance to go. Didn't I say, like, in the first episode of this second series, like, hey, I'm gonna choose not to make a reference to lose yourself this time. This is gonna be very confusing for the people watching afterwards. Like I said, it's gonna be totally easy to Wow, I got it in 1. Nico's the only one with a light bulb. Yeah, but the light bulb symbol appears everywhere, including like the shrine that they had, the area where you regrow maize. What other places? It appears other places too. Where did this terrible looking boat come from? Just like I threw a cardboard box in the hole. I mean, there are a lot of really big square issues happening right now, but you know. Oh, hey, bye, Vesposh. Can't go up or down or anything, just forward. Gotta have constant forward momentum. Chat, behave. Hey, Doc, how's the health and weight going? Still doing okay. All right, hope y'all are ready for another real huge plot dump. Plot, aka anime titty. There is no titty in this. Come on. You know, for being the creator of the world, I think he could have came up with something a little bit more interesting than your classic biplane. Don't worry, I got his backup disc. The third one, of course, being the fox. These people would have to be scripted too, and the computer doesn't know about them. That's also explained a little bit later. But first, there is a little bit more of stuff to be doing. Okay, just same thing. All right. Yeah, it's the end. This is the end as far as I know. I don't really know if there's necessarily anything past this route in the game, but... yeah, you actually do have an empty bag. Huh. I forgot because the first time that I played through this, I actually had to use the battery. Yeah, I forgot about that. I can bypass a little bit of stuff here. I guess so. Yeah, because the original time that I played through this, I had to go steal the battery from like the research outpost in this area. You remember how there was a second area with a bunch of the robots hanging around here, and basically, I took the battery from there. But I guess I didn't actually have to do this time because of a little bit of forethought. Cool stuff. Huh. Well, I mean, I guess it's not really surprising to see that they accounted for that, but I didn't really think about it when I was doing this the first time. Alright, well, anyway. I actually think I can just... yeah, okay. I can just kind of teleport around here, which is good. Unfortunately, the bridge is broken, so... not really going to be able to do too much about that for now. I do think that what I do need to do is go talk to Maze again. Which will, let me repair some more of the bridges or something. Yeah, the ending I did made you do all that. You used everything. Okay, yeah. No regrowth ending this time. Not that it really matters. It's a simulated world. Alright, let's get out of here. And I do believe I can now go back to the previous area. That sucks. I mean, it's just... Maze does not survive in Any ending. Maze was already dead by the time you got here. Yeah, I'm curious. You know what? Sure. Because I'm curious as to what's going to happen right now. Yes, I did get some of the, oh, just nothing. Okay, then. Yeah, I did get some of the new ending, or some of the more of the achievements by playing through the game another time. As you do. Can we just call this world Anor Londo? Nah, Anor Londo was just empty. It wasn't literally falling apart. Cool, it's time to traumatize the cat kid. Eh. Obviously, the magpie is going to be the one to talk to here. I meant with all the death. Yeah. I'm curious if you have the option to smash a light bulb in the crusher on the first go-around. I tried that. It does not work. You do not get to do that. Nico still prevents you from doing that once again. Yeah, not first this one. Nope, it was still true in this one because I had the exact same idea. Where it's just like now that, you know, being that this is the second time you're going through the game, you should know that you could just smash a light bulb. But no, Nico still stops you. And I got the wind up music box. Files. Oh wait, no, I did. What am I thinking? I got fast travel. All right, well, that's actually a much faster way of doing this whole rigmarole. So happy about that. Hey, Cedric. He made the entire world, or at least part of it. It's like a big portion of it. Also, I see on the ground that he does have a proper crowbar. What is this person and their dad? And their dad is the one who made the computer. I mean, every character in this is an NPC as part of the world machine. It's a simulation of the old world, but on a much smaller scale. I mean, technically, like, everybody is the sons and daughters of the author. How many times have you completed this game? I completed it, a few days ago, and I had that recorded to do, like, post-commentary over, but then I decided to do it as a stream instead. But the author actually exists? Yes. The author tells you how to get through the tower, supposedly writing it as you're doing it. No, the author had already left at that point. Presumably he was doing that because he could predict what the machine was going to do. I mean, he was the one that created it in the first place. Yeah, here we go. This is the explanation as to why the computer doesn't actually know about these characters. There was a patch to the world machine that introduced like these kind of off-site areas that include these characters specifically. So it was sort of a workaround for the issues that were happening. Yeah, the squares corrupt the code. Yes, Nico, he's called the author. Come on. Now, here's a lot of explanations to your questions. Detailed facsimile of the old world from a pool of memories collected from everyone that he knew. So yeah, it is a simulation of the old world, which I guess the old world had a bunch of robots, including the Prophet Bot itself that was recreated in this one. And that's why things kind of work arbitrarily, sort of. And the other thing is that they were modified, which I guess was, you know, adding in the tower and an added narrative. That's something that does kind of stick in my craw a little bit. The idea that the whole fact of you... So the whole thing about you being the Messiah and putting the light... So how would you save the original world? Oh, it's not supposed to be to save the original world. It's supposed to be to make it so that the inhabitants of the original world had meaning by recreating their world as a simulation. You know, so that the world would continue on even if the original one didn't. And it also had an added narrative to it. Like the whole thing about... Oh, how would you save the original world since it's long dead? He wouldn't. He just exists in this world because people remember him from the original world and being the guy that was able to craft the prophecy in the first place. Which is why they created a second... like, different prophet, because that one was the prophet bot for the old world. Yeah, so if you're wondering, if the world was destroyed, how does this code still exist? I don't know, it's just out here somewhere. And there you go. That's why Nico is a real character, because his brain, his mind is being used to power the world as it exists. The author was the one that originally did it, but then basically the author has died, so it instead, being a parasitic world, a parasitic alternate reality, has taken over the mind of this cat child. That's a strange narrative, because obviously Nico does not really, one of the things that you begin to realize over the course of this is the fact that I don't think there was ever a son. Like, there was never a son. That just exists as being a narrative for Nico to go on. And previous to that, I do think that, like, the author was supporting the world through his own mind. Everything like that. It still doesn't make any sense how that works, but whatever. That's me. Yeah, it's like, so the author was the one who originally generated it, and that's presumably like where a lot of people were living prior to this. But now that Nico is the only one that is running this world, there isn't actually like a world. Because the only thing that we see through Nico's eyes is the game of OneShot, and then everything else just keeps repeating from the start of that game. It's kind of depressing to think that there is like no good ending to this game in that way. It's like nobody actually... Basically, when you are not playing the game right now, the world does not exist anymore, and the idea of the plights of everybody inside it are all in vain. Especially because the world is supposed to... The world is supposed to, like, end as far as you... As soon as you complete the narrative by putting the light bulb into the tower. So who's the actual person in the actual world? Nico is a real person in the real world. The author was a real person and was the previous person that was running the world machine off of their own mind. That was through the testing phases and presumably right up until the world actually ended itself. And then basically the code floated around into the void until I installed it on my machine, and it basically snatched Nico out of the void to run it. As of right now, the author is dead, because otherwise the author would continue to be running the world of OneShot. Yeah, the world exists for the Messiah to save everyone. That's what they were talking about. That's what they were talking about being a narrative to it. Because Nico is the Messiah of the old world, and they still wanted to have that whole thing happen. But now it's happening in a simulation of the world. And, like, the world exists just for the Messiah to save it, and that's it. The thing is, the world machine became sapient on its own point, and that's why problems. It's you know, that's the sort of thing that, to be honest, like, maybe more than anything else, it's the fact that there's like... It's so hopeless even from the very start. Even if the world of OneShot was working exactly as intended, it's a very sort of nihilistic approach to his story. Sentient? Oh no, it's definitely sapient. That's the guy that's been talking to you the entire time. The entity known as the world machine itself. I mean, especially the weird thing is that, like, the world... Not only does the world, like, exist as an intelligent creature by itself, but so do, like, the characters inside of it. And the fact that they were all intended to just be destroyed as soon as Nico... completed the narrative regardless? Yeah. So in the destroyed world, Nico existed. Someone else found the simulation, plugged it in, and had to wait for the player to load it. No, the way that Cedric says it, it sounds like the code was just kind of floating into the void until you installed it on your own machine. And then once you installed it on your own machine, it snatched Nico out of his world to be the Messiah, because Nico is the prophesized Messiah. It's not really clear exactly how the code continued working after the destruction of the world, but it did. Yeah, it was saved in the cloud. The infinite computing power of the cloud. I don't know, because ultimately the idea of this becomes that the one-shot world was always fated to be destroyed. Was always fated to be destroyed. Even if it was executed in the exact way that it was supposed to, as soon as the Messiah did their dirty, filthy, disgusting work, it was going to be destroyed. But the thing is, the characters that exist inside of it, even as virtual simulations, they are like real characters on themselves. So the idea that it's like they're still fated to be destroyed, or even just in this case where it goes around in a loop over and over, you know, as Nico can't actually complete his mission as Messiah, just seems like exceptionally cruel to me. Because even if like the characters in this game are fake, they are supposed to be real characters. I don't know, it reminds me a lot of some of the other games that I played where it feels sort of like we're supposed to be empathizing entirely with Nico because he is the real character here. But to be honest, I actually feel way worse for the characters inside the simulated world because they have such a worse fate. But they are also simulated characters, which is why I guess, you know, they sort of take a second seat to Nico and what you're supposed to be doing with him for the story. I don't know, I think about like I'll try to avoid getting into spoilers specifically, but you know. Did you play Last Station? It's equally or less depressing. Sisyphean punishment of hell-level fate in the end. Well, the thing is, it is a Sisyphean punishment right now, but in the end, the plan is to get Nico out and everybody else to be consigned to non-existence. And also, like, Last Station being equally or less depressing, it's like, that's actually a thing where a lot of RPG Maker games go for this very depressing sort of ending, where even if Nico did get out of the world and everything, it's like there's still a lot of people that die, or at least go into non-existence, which I guess I would call dying. And it's like, this is such like a common trope that I see in a lot of RPG Maker games that in some ways, that's why I was wondering if there was another ending to the game wherein, you know, maybe it's not Nico's brain that the simulation is running on, but like, I don't know, somebody else's, it's able to continue on in memoriam in some other way? Because the idea that you are going to be sacrificing this world, and that it was planned to be sacrificing this world regardless, is like, woof. What it sounds like is the author made a gamble. He hoped that there was a higher power or being that could allow his faux world to exist. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like, I don't know, but at the same time, the author also created a narrative, and the narrative had an ending which would have released the Messiah in the end. So it was planned in that way. But yeah, I was going to say, it's like, not to get into too many spoilers about another game that I was playing recently, Crosscode. There are AI characters in that game that, like, nobody ever questioned were of equal worth to real people. Whereas, like, in OneShot here, it does feel like you are really, it's about Nico and nobody else. which is kind of a, I don't know. I mean, it certainly is better than something like Persona 5, where they don't even consider the Persona or Shadows to even be like intelligent beings and just kill them without a care in the world. But still, it's like I do feel kind of depressed over the fact that everything is very much hopeless for the world as it exists here. Also, that's pretty cool. Yep, let's. How would they pull Nico from a world? You're a disembodied thing, and so is a computer. Would Nico be disembodied? No, Nico's more like, I don't know, he's like sleeping, basically. Nope, still not doing that. 100 Cedrics drop onto a city. Yeah, they're going to C. Dot. Yeah, of course. I mean, the way that the code works is that it is ethereal and formless and seemingly can attract to, like, computers or minds like a celestial parasitic creature of Lovecraftian origin. So, yeah. Is that better or worse or what? No. No, not speaking of celestial. No, you don't. So the original way this should have been gotten is an email virus? I mean, the way that this... The thing is, I purposely installed this game on my computer. Nico did not. Nico did not purposely install this game on his brain. But also, it's just like... People are also... I don't know, it frustrates me that it's like there's no actual plan to save the denizens of OneShot right now. Only to save Nico. Oh, come on, you can say fuck here. I mean, also, like, the, you know, I gotta say that, like, a lot of the... Maybe, like, a weird time to bring this up. I do think that a lot of the fourth wall breaking stuff is pretty hokey in this game. What if Nico's world, the code ended up as a pollutant and heroin, and Nico is just a junkie kid? You can't really...
Hello.
I love that guy. OneShot is 2 levels of reality below us. A writer creates a world and that world below us because since we created it, and a character from in that world wrote the world, and it would be lower for them. I mean, there is a lot of levels of like in-story existence here, which again, not very uncommon for an RPG Maker game. I've certainly seen this sort of thing in other places. But it's like also, I don't know. Like I said, it's the fact that I was saying like way earlier back in the Barrens that it's like yeah. I was saying way earlier, like back in the Barrens, that that like the fact that Nico is also still a character in this game is it kind of makes that hard to believe, the whole thing about like the simulation and the whole thing where he's supposed to be more important than the other characters in the game, because the game, like I said, also does create you know, also does like make it clear that Nico is the more important one than everybody else. So there's a world within a matrix, and the matrix is within a matrix. Okay, so there are 3 different worlds in this game. The world that I exist in, wherein I installed the game OneShot on my computer. The world that Nico exists in, which is a separate but equally valid world. Well, actually, I suppose there's 4. A third world, which is dead right now, that created the simulation in the first place. And the OneShot world, which is a virtual world that is a recreation of the... which is a recreation of the dead world that existed originally based off of the mind of its creator, the author, but then required me and Nico to come together to make it continue to exist, even though it only exists in a very small, limited loop. That is the video game. Like I said, this is not actually, this is very, at the same time, it's like this sort of convoluted narrative is, can you also access Nico's original world just because Nico is also with this? No, because that is not a computer program. The world of OneShot, the simulated world, is a computer program. The world that Nico exists in only exists through the CG images whenever he goes to sleep. And the thing is, it's like Nico, the Nico that exists here is not the real Nico. It's an avatar of himself being created from his brain being used to power the world machine. This is not in any way the real Nico. It is the real Nico's thoughts, but it's basically like it is an avatar being controlled by him. But you're in Nico's brain too. Well, the computer program that I'm running is in Nico's brain. But it is also using resources from my own computer machine to make it run as well. But a lot of the inner workings is done by Nico's brain, but the actual computer world as it exists is running on my machine as the OneShot.exe computer game. No, anyway, and like I said, it's like this sort of like super convoluted writing is like very common in RPG Maker games. I see this sort of thing all the time. I was mentioning Manly Badass Hero. He just got done playing a game called Cat in the Box, which had like an equal level of convolution to its storyline, despite being a very simple haunted house type of story to it. It's like it's weird that it's like I have seen this seems super weird, but it's actually very common in this subgenre, in this like subculture of video games. Also references. All right. I would put Nico's world equal to our world. I would put Dead World, Nico's world, and our world equal to each other, but they are above the world of OneShot. Of course. What if the author is your mum? What if the author is Nico's mum? But yeah, this was the big door that I was talking about earlier. Oh, yeah, give me a second here. I'm going into my documents. I always gotta go into my documents. Oh wait, no, it's just Solstice again. How much of the game is left? A bit. How much of this game is right? Half of it. Tried to edit a Terraria mod only for the source code to work, be absolutely out of date. Had to rewrite the entire thing in order to make the source even work. How much of this game is down? Oh, this game is entirely down to clown. Don't even worry about that. How much is up? About 550. Send me your PayPal account information. All right, let's continue on here because yeah, there is. Ugh. What? Like this is a weirdly convoluted narrative, but it's actually not really that difficult. We're just trying to rescue Nico from it. Like significantly taller. Staring at your knees right now. And by I mean the Lamplighter, whose name I believe is actually Plight. If I'm looking in the character names, this guy's name is Plight, which is interesting. That character's name is apparently the Watcher. But why rescue Nico? Because do we have to bring up the world importance list again? Purple hair guy reminds me of Eve. Yep. I said that exact same thing when I was doing this playthrough the first time. Light and Watcher? Yeah, I know. Just end the world. They won't know the difference. They won't. However, Nico will... well, everybody will be dead, though. No more pain. I'm a change, what you call spaghetti. That's not even a lose yourself reference. So my computer can access entire separate realities without flinching. Only the one! Only the one, the simulated reality that exists as part of an EXE on your machine and part of an EXE running in the brain of a cat boy. I can't believe you don't understand this yet. It's so simple. Don't you understand that back in the original Fredbear's Pizza Diner, the purple guy, known as William Afton, killed 7 or 8 kids? What if I run 2 EXEs? That's a good question. Double the Catboys, I guess. Catboy is engine. Look, you don't exist in the alternate world where all the regular people are cat boys. That's a different world that is inaccessible except through the converging point that is the OneShot EXE. Oh, also Cedric is about to die, but like, you know, there's so many bigger things going on here. So if I put this game on a flash drive, no, the game has to choose its own. The game is a parasitic alternate universe that chooses its own host, being Nico, who is the actual Messiah that was originally prophesized to save the dying world, but was unable to, but was not even born by the time that it was destroyed. So now he has to settle for saving the fake world, which is part of the narrative that was created by the author, so as to give a happier ending to his faux world filled with a lot of intelligent AI based off of the thoughts and minds of real people from the old dying world before they were destroyed, all to fulfill this prophecy that existed at that point in time. I'm not going to end up like MatPat. This is actually in the game. Oh, by the way, George this time has the boxcar's face. I like that. If I plug my computer, you're in this reality, you have to load in the exe to put in your half of the the simulated world, and then the simulated world can only connect to one person, which is Nico, from an alternate world. You don't get the mind part of the OneShot exe, you only get the actual computer program. You would have to go over to Nico's world and also be Nico if you wanted to be that on that side of the equation. Is where does Nico originate from? An alternate reality Earth where everybody is a cat person. Okay, so Nico exists from a reality where it's basically just like Earth, like in almost every single way, including having, you know, the same language and blah, blah, blah. Except everybody is a cat person. I mean, he's still coming from, I don't know, the United States of America or Eastern Europe or Northern Mongolia or whatever, except in that place, everybody's a cat person. And the cat world is not the author's world. No, that is the dead world. The third world that the simulation of OneShot is based on. Good. Yes, no, the cat world is not destroyed. Okay, so, as of right now, there's only one dead world, and that is for the author's original world, which begat the OneShot world. Our world and Nico's world are still totally fine. Please. Where does RimWorld fit into all of this? I don't know, maybe Nico's world is one of the Rim worlds. Okay, so if I go to Nico and unplug Nico, and then take it back to this world, and I make a clone of myself. Nico's the only Messiah. Anybody can install the OneShot exe in our world, but Nico is the only one that gets connected to it. In the original simulation, there was no savior, plus it was run on a person's mind instead of a computer. What if it's a... No. Okay. In the original version of this, they ran it on their own computers in the dead world, and the mind that they used was the author's mind. But then as soon as the author died due to, you know, world destruction, the code floated around into the void until I installed the exe on my computer, and Nico had the exe installed in his brain forcibly. Because Nico is the Messiah. I mean, presumably if the dying world actually managed to survive this amount of time, Nico would have been able to save it in some way if the prophecy was even a real thing. Which, I mean, I guess it is, because otherwise why would Nico be here? That's why Nico also has trouble remembering hundreds or thousands of play with dozens at the same time would shatter his mind. Yeah, that's probably a pretty justifiable version of exactly why it's, why things are that way. Cat People is a great movie, the original one. Was that the one where they never actually showed the cat people, but because they had like really bad costumes, and it kind of turned into like a really good B movie because of that? Nico is a cat person, they might be a cat girl or a cat boy. Or a cat and bee. Yes, that is true. Nico's gender is never actually... Nico's gender is kind of like the least important thing right now. Nico is Nico, yes. Nico, much like Schrodinger's cat, has no genitalia until you collapse the waveform. Boy, you know, there's also been a game happening in the background here. Wasn't OneShot over in the previous stream? Oh boy, was it not. Instead, OneShot was just getting started, baby. It was actually earlier today. But if Baba is you and Nico is Nico into me, you can't be Nico. Stop trying to be Nico. Only Nico can be Nico. Unless you somehow make yourself Nico, you're not going to be able to be the Messiah and go to the world of OneShot, which is a bad place anyway. Now I'm spelling it Nello. Unello? They'll stick with the theory that it's Nico Bellic from GTA 4. And I'll stick with the theory that it's Nico from the common contributor with the Velvet Underground. What's Nico holding? The sun. But to be honest, it's like the sun does not actually really matter in this reality. Especially as we found out that the entire thing with the sun was just a manufactured narrative so that the savior could save the world, even though the world could save a simulated version of a world that is long dead. All right, well, that's some stuff. Nikola Tesla could not power a light bulb by his mere presence. That's nonsensical. World is ending, what are we gonna do? Oh man, if only you knew what was actually happening, nameless scientist NPC. If only you knew. Because oh boy, it's so much worse than you could have possibly imagined. It's like the world cannot even exist without Nico, and Nico's stuck in an infinite loop, in a Sisyphean loop. I was able to make more sense of Metal Gear Solid 2. So the bad ending? Well, I mean, it's kind of the true ending. No, I didn't say the good ending, I said the true ending. It's a lot like how Corpse Party, which by the way, Corpse Party did have the whole inescapable hell dimension too. Speaking of old RPG Maker games. But, yeah. Hit me. Inescapable hell dimension. I mean, in some ways, I kind of understand why a lot of games go for that, but it's like, boy, you do see it an awful lot in RPG Maker games. Oh, yeah. New party member gained. Corpse Party didn't have this mega universe theory that's full of holes, though, didn't it? I want you to think back on the plot of Corpse Party. Oh boy. God, I've entirely lost it. There's so much. I cannot put this up as the final episode of this series, by the way. Holy crap. Is that just not gonna work at all? Well, I guess I'm gonna have to do a regular video anyway. Corpse Party is clusterfuck and I love it. Oh boy, is it. If I remember correctly, the author knew about Nico because of the prophecy bot back in the Dead World, which is also the prototype bot in this world. Although the prototype bot is not literally the same robot, it's people's memories of a robot being recreated in this world. The question is, how did Prophecy Bot know about Nico? Where did he look? Apparently, they're robots. There is a level of mysticism in this game where prophecies exist. For example, there was... The prophet, bird person from back in the Glen might have actually been based on a real person, which was then added into the simulation. And that was the person who made the prophecy in the first place, which then the prophecy bot was created to echo. Besides, nobody knew that it was actually Nico. They just knew that there would be a prophesized Messiah, and that's it. We didn't actually know anything about it being Nico until Nico actually showed up in the world. Yeah, I mean, the thing that you have to remember is that every NPC that exists in this world is a recreation of the memories of people from the old Dead World, except for maybe Rue, Cedric, and Prophetbot. Although Prophetbot was a real thing, so I guess probably just Rue and Cedric. Definitely Cedric, I would say, is probably an original creation, and OC do not steal from the author himself. Especially in the way that he seems to have a lot more connection to the author and refers to him as like father and everything. Everybody else, though, that exists, I mean, that's actually also another thing where George, the dice-headed girl in the library, they actually did refer to in one of the books as being a fitting tribute to another person. So it's like, and that was kind of questionable as to if that was the yellow dye, the yellow phosphor dye that you got at that point in time from her, if that was supposed to be the thing that they were talking about for a fitting tribute. But it seems like the actual reasoning for that was that she was supposed to be a tribute to a real person in the dying world that was then inserted into the world of OneShot. How did Nico get the EXE force into his head? Well, he is the prophesized Messiah. Well, it could also be that he was not actually the prophesized Messiah, but just through having the EXE choose him as being its avatar, he became the Messiah. But either way, there's nothing to actually support that in the storyline. Just cut this audio and voiceover. And I do have a version of this that I recorded for being for like post-commentary stuff later. If the work is going to destroy, why even bother sending Nico? Because they wanted to complete the Messiah narrative as it existed in the old dying world, so that their entire civilization meant something. Is Nico just Cat Jesus? Yes. Oh, you're right. I forgot where I was going because I'm so entrenched in explaining the plotline of this game. Universe was found by an internet occult journalist, lured people into it, ended up being killed, and that's where the souls of the dead kid... Yep. Next, I'm going to explain to you the plot line of Siren. To be fair, I did actually really like that, but it's like still has the hell. Well, first off, it was created by the same person that created Silent Hill, which is pretty much like the example of the inescapable hell dimension. and Siren had that same thing. So to give their ultimate demise a meaning, they sent Neko and made the prophecy. I mean, it's kind of hard to say, because I think that originally when the author was creating the world, he just wanted to create a recreation of the dying world. And I don't know if he actually meant to like, have the world continue existing on after the author died. But needless to say, it did. So Nico, as the Messiah, came into the world to save it. I mean, the thing is, the author created a narrative wherein Nico was supposed to take the light bulb and put it at the top of the tower, and then the world would be saved, but also end as Nico would escape the simulation. But that didn't so I assumed that he kind of planned for this to happen, but I don't know. But yeah, one of the other things that's happening is that the simulation itself did become self-aware and is trying to destroy itself. Yeah, suicidal AI. That's true. I mean, to be honest, that's actually like one of the less complex parts of the whole thing. Well, at least maybe not less complex, but less, stuff. Convoluted. Yeah, and the thing is, it's just like the AI is suicidal, but it still exists off of Nico's mind. And so it can't kill itself by killing Nico, because that would mean that it kills Nico. There you go. That was the point of that very early bit where that was the point of the very early bit where you got the 3 laws of robotics. But the thing is, the eventual ending is still an ending. That's the thing that frustrates me more than anything else in this game. There is no Pepe Sylvia. No, all these people do exist, and they're all wondering where their mail is. Scaling down the story, and that's why this is only a 3-hour game. Cat World is not the dead world. I am going to reach through this screen and strangle you people if you don't start understanding this. We're so far past knowing about taming. Ugh. I mean, the AI of a dying world, where it is a dying world, lives off a person's mind. It should want to kill itself because its purpose is to save. No, the purpose existed to play out this narrative wherein the Messiah was going to come in and save the world. Cat World is the same level of reality. Well, Cat World, the dead world, and the real world, this world, Earth, are all on the same level of reality. Cat World and the dead world are on the like actual in-game reality as being in-game, whereas the one that I'm playing right now is not. Nico is actually Cedric's twin brother. No, that's... Oh. Put away that oh. This might be the time and place for it, but that's not... I'm not going to talk about it. Convoluted reality, Soiku. I was Nico all along. I don't know, maybe. Whatever. Does it count as choking if it's not with your hands? As opposed to what? Like giving you a big bear hug? Like cracking your ribs? This content update. Ah. What do you mean establish some of the source code? He wrote the source code. But yeah, that's why there are parts of the thing that aren't yeah. The world machine does not like the idea that it added in the solstice route, so it's breaking down. I mean, the thing is, the entity is the world machine. It is the OneShot.exe. How'd you find this game? Oh, I mean, it's been pretty well known for a while, but specifically, a dude named Ezergil told me to play it, and I agreed to play it in 2018, but it took me until now to actually finish it. All right, let's get out of here. Oh yeah, these two survived, by the way. Yeah, 4-man party. We Tomb of Friends now. It's one of the highest rated indie games on Steam. Yeah, I mean, certainly it's like... I've known about this game for a very long time, but I never actually played it myself. But what about Silver? I mean, first off, here's the thing. It's a simulated reality. We can just reinstantiate another example of Silver at any point in time. It's not very complicated at all. No, you can't rhyme anything with Silver. It's like trying to find a rhyme for month. Yes, Nico, I know what's going on. Oh, all right. Here, let's throw that over here so you don't have to stare directly at my documents folder. Let me try and find this. Oh, yeah, right, it's in my games. Wow, this isn't good. Give me 1 second. Gotta go open up my recycle bin here. Oh, what are we looking at? Here we go. And this should hopefully work. As I've said before that I am playing... anything? No? Of course not. Here, let me just, like, freaking exit out of the game real quick because, like, there's, stuff that's going on where things are not working correctly right now. You deleted it? Oh, I sure did. Look, I just have screwed around a lot with this game. Nico, shut up. Oh, okay. There we go. So I guess I just need to interact with that because things were so hideously broken for me. All right, well. Yeah, this also makes sense that this is like the author's personal study because you did see like some of those images that are on the desk as in one of the books. Also, you think I have a porn folder? Come on. I don't even have... Like, everything related to that is on a completely different machine. I guess basically... I mean, he must have looked basically the exact same as Cedric, right? Because he seems to have, like, a lot of the same sort of items here. You can kind of barely see the author in the background, who did not include himself in his own image there. All right. Let me actually make sure I'm recording the right thing. Yes. Get it? At least I did get extreme bartering. The rarest of of achievements for this game. Honestly, don't know exactly what you're supposed to do here. I remember the first time that I played it, I just kind of wandered around until it do. No, I print out everything and then eat them to gain their power. I guess you're just supposed to wander around until you get to the thing. I thought that was the end? How would that be the end? Oh, trust me, very few people did, Nico, judging by the discourse that's happening here. I understood it. I disagree with the line of thought. Yeah, well, RPG Maker game. What if the aliens' technology was themselves? Ah, good stuff. It's because I've been playing this for like over 2 hours right now. Please, understand. An ancient meme for only the most sophisticated of audiences. Yeah, I mean, what if OneShot was really an attempt to make a scientifically accurate Dragon MMO? Think about that. So he hates his own code? Yes, he hates it. He hates it. I keep bringing you back over and over, but the commentary never gets any better. It's terrible. Why are you typing with your thumbs? Oh. Eh. Been able to leave and destroy the entire world. You really think I was sitting in a chair for an hour? I've sat in a chair for 2 hours right now. Almost 2.5 by the end of this. So what's next, Doom? Unless one extra person votes for Darkest Dungeon, which I'm trying to avoid have happen. No, old Doom. Oh yes, everything is here is doomed, by the way. Make no mistake on that. Start with Blood? Ah, no. The only thing I really like about Blood is the fact that they have Phantasmagoria references in it. Where do I vote? In the discussions page. It's still there, and I still check it occasionally to see if anybody happened to vote for Darkest Dungeon, basically. Where's the poll? It's the community page on the YouTube page. Let me just go see real quick. Like, freaking right here. It's right here. It's right there, dude. Isn't Dust the next one aside from Animal Crossing? I don't even have a Switch, so I don't know how I'd be able to do that. Also, Dust and Elysian Tale would be interesting, but I don't know. People ooh-wooing enough over Nico here. I don't really need more people ooh-wooing over Fidget. I mean, is that not the Dust you were referring to? Damn it, World Machine, do it already. It's because I wanted to finish the game. No, kill computer. Worth every penny, mate. Why Doom and not Wolfenstein 3D? Because people voted for Doom. I didn't. It's not like it's my choice. It's what people voted for. That's why. And the latest two things that people voted for were Dead Cells, which I completed that series a little while ago, and basically, yeah. And Doom is the other one. By the way, if the World Machine fails on this, Nigo is super dead. But thankfully it didn't. Get rid of all these things. I can't get these ones. Of course you were. You were always tamed. I just needed to make you believe in yourself. The power of friendship and etc. It is not. You know, you'd think that by this ending, especially with the World Machine being tamed and everything like that, that it's like it could use its own brain to support itself. But I don't really think that's, in fact, the case. That's why I was wondering if there was, yeah, the month ago one is the one that I'm still working off of. I'm very slow at uploading videos. Yeah, it's like, this is why I was expecting there was going to be like another third ending where you... Ori is the next one? Oh, well, it was the other one. That's like charging an external bit. The code already exists by itself right now anyway. Will you forget Nico? Absolutely not. How could I? How could I after all of this? Yeah, I told you. You just gotta reinstantiate another version of her. Doom 38, Darkest Dungeon 37. Yeah, I think that's right. I also downvoted Darkest Dungeon to make sure that it didn't appear towards the top anymore. I get my own vote. Just because I'm the owner of the channel, it doesn't mean that I don't get my own vote. Title Goose Game, Ori. I already played. No, you're probably talking about Ori 2, Tori. Nico, everybody's about to die. It doesn't matter. Really? Of all the people that I met on my journey, the robot is the one that we bring back? Night Margin did do a pretty good job with the music. Ori 2, Oris. The Oris heresy. Well, at least May's got to survive, kind of. I mean, she's about to die again, by the way. And this guy is... We couldn't bring back, like, Mason, the guy who owned the greenhouse or something? Or the water-headed guy? I mean, basically. You're certainly going to be soon enough. No. How do I say no? They're not. They're going to send them home for about 5 seconds before you replace the light bulb and everybody dies. Like how she's speaking to Nico's head. Well, I mean, usually I speak to Nico's head. Or I speak to people's heads when I'm talking to them. I do not actually speak to Nico's head. I speak to the screen. Yeah, Plight does remain the best character. I like this guy. It's too bad that he's about to die. Too bad they can't run without a cat brain. Wait, can you go back up? Let me see. No. Also, yeah, I didn't think that you could anyway. Goodbye forever, at least until I do the real episode of this and not the stream. And then I rewind it again. I'm stuck in my own version of the simulation. I am Nico. You can vote multiple times. I make sure to keep it open like that for the purposes of being chaotic. I like that apparently the robot was placed back into the squares. That's some good stuff. Yeah, I'm more like a Calamus than I am a Nico, really. Excuse me, my middle in quotation marks name is Inferno? Dr. Inferno Firebird? Please? Still use that for my Twitch name? Yeah, I'm here. Oh, no. I only count one single suggestion. If people put down Fury multiple times, I only count the one that is the highest rated. If the same game gets the highest rated, I will play it multiple times. It won't. We will. Oh, oh man. Oh man. Nothing will happen to it. Forever. That's what you say about somebody that died. Haha, world goes burr. Aren't I already going to play Minecraft when I get 40k subs? Yeah, so if you restart up the game again, you can play through Nico's memories. That's still not the same thing. Nope, that is not the ending I wanted. Oh, there you go. That's OneShot. What a game. Good night, everybody.